Hi, this is Charlie Setterfield. I teach architectural technology at Sinclair Community College in Dayton, Ohio, and I have lots of students who come to me and ask about careers in architecture and construction and design and things like that. And so this presentation is kind of a summary of some of those highlights from those conversations. So I want to talk about career pathways, and this presentation is all about becoming a licensed architect. But let's make sure we know what that means before we get too far. So licensed means that the state where you're going to have your business or going to practice architecture has issued you a license. You've done certain things, and you've passed a test, and you've done an internship, and you've done this list of activities. And based on that, the state says, yes, you're qualified to be an architect. Here's your license. Sort of like earning your driver's license or your medical license or something like that, right? But there are lots and lots of career opportunities that do not require a license. Think of it like a hospital, right? So doctors have licenses, but not everyone working in the hospital has a license, right? So kind of a parallel. So you can be a designer, you could be a CAD operator, you could be a modeler, you could administer contracts, you can manage projects. There are all sorts of things that you can do in the built environment that do not require a license. So don't let the fact that you don't have a license deter you from being in this business. But this presentation is all about how to become a licensed architect, or the process. Now, keep in mind that this varies by state, and I'm in the state of Ohio, so I'm going to use the requirements for the state of Ohio as my examples. So, there are three important aspects to achieving your license. The first is a professional degree, and we'll talk about what that means here in a minute. The second is an internship experience. Again, we'll talk about that. And finally, you need to pass the Architectural Registration Exam, or the ARE. So, let's talk about professional degrees first. So, professional degrees are a Bachelor of Architecture, a Master of Architecture, or a Doctor of Architecture. Notice that that does not say Bachelor of Arts in Architecture or Bachelor of Architectural Engineering or any other variation. It is purely a Bachelor of Architecture, Master of Architecture, Doctor of Architecture. Those degrees have to come from an accredited university, and the accrediting agency is NAB, or the National Architectural Accrediting Board. They're the folks who say what it takes to be a school of architecture. And they have all sorts of requirements. You can go to their website and learn about their history. You can learn about their requirements. But I think the most helpful thing that you can do on their website is to actually search for accredited degree programs. Here again, I'm going to use the state of Ohio. So I go to the NAB website, I type in Ohio, and I hit the search button. And it's going to tell me what degree programs are available, or what universities are offering accredited degrees. In the state of Ohio, you're going to find that there are 4 universities: Kent State, Miami, Ohio State, and the University of Cincinnati. If you dive down into each one of those, you'll find pages that look sort of like this one for Ohio State, and you'll find across the board in Ohio that the only accredited programs are master's degree programs. So something to keep in mind is that if this is the track that you're on, then you've got a bachelor's degree requirement before you can get into the master's degree program. So let's move on and talk about the second aspect of becoming a licensed architect, which is your internship experience. Every state requires some kind of an internship experience. Most of them recognize the IDP program, which is administered by the National Council of Architectural Registration Boards. So NCARB, or the National Council of Architectural Registration Boards, they're important in architectural careers in 2 facets. The first is establishing the internship program and then administering it. So that's number 1. Number 2, they also deal with the Architectural Registration Exam, or the ARE, which is what we're going to talk about next. So they're an important organization to get to know. Go to their website and you can download all sorts of helpful information regarding the IDP program, the process, and how long it takes and how much it takes and all that kind of stuff. So let's see here. So the first thing that I downloaded was how many years it typically takes to complete the IDP process. The IDP process includes 5,600 hours of experience under the guidance of a licensed architect. So 5,600 hours in 2012, it looks like it took a little over 5 years for a typical graduate to do that. Now you can overlap this experience with your degree program. So you can do some of this while you're in school, not all of it. The number of folks who are completing the IDP process in 2012, we had about 2,000 people who completed IDP. That's down from a high in 2009. And then this is a total of years from graduation to licensure. And it varies based on kind of the exam format. And you'll notice in 2012, it's running right at about 8.5 years from the time you graduate until the time that you are licensed. You have to pay for this process, and so the initial setup of your NCARB file is a $350 charge, and then each year after that you pay $75 to keep it active. But they keep track of all your time and all that kind of thing. So that's the way most states require you to do your internship experience. And ncarb.org is a huge website that has all sorts of wonderful information, and I encourage you to go there and learn more. I just picked out a few of the highlights for you. Okay, so we've talked about professional degrees, we've talked about the internship experience. Now let's talk about the ARE, or the Architectural Registration Exam. We are currently using the ARE 4.0. That's just the generation of the exam. And it includes 7 different areas, and these are all different disciplines that an architect needs to be proficient in. So programming and practice, site planning and design, building design, construction systems, schematic design, structural systems, building systems, construction documents and services. So each one of those is a separate exam that you'll take. So you'll go back to the testing center at least 7 times to take all of the sections. These are the pass rates for those various sections. For 2012, it looks like they range anywhere from 62% to about 77%. So what that translates into is that you're not going to get it done in just 7 visits to the testing center. It's going to take you, 9 or 10 or something like that. On average before you pass all 7 sections. There's a waiting period between taking them, by the way. You can only take them twice a year, so you've got to wait 6 months in between tests. If you fail one, you've got to wait 6 months before you can go back and take it again. Each time you go back and take a test, they're going to charge you $210 for that experience, and it's going to range in time anywhere from 2.5 hours to about 5 hours for the longest of the tests. And those will happen, they're all computer based, and those will happen at a testing center like Prometric that you can find locally. All of that information again is on the NCARB website, and so I encourage you to go there and take a look at what they've got to offer. So we've talked about professional degrees, we've talked about the internship experience, and we've talked about the ARE, or the Architectural Registration Exam.